It's the George Plaster Show. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown. And it's a shame it's taken this long to get an introduction for this Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer, Kelly Holcomb, along with young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is, at least for today, beautiful Thursday in Nashville, Tennessee. However, into each life, some rain must fall. My little deal here says 85% chance of rain tomorrow, 74 for a high. So temperatures fall a little bit. However, weekend doesn't look half bad. 79 on Saturday, 83 on Sunday. There is your weather forecast. Let's go to Murfreesboro and say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
George, I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Did you watch the LA Clippers last night by any chance?
I did, man. This is probably not good to say on a talk show, but in our church we've created a thing where they wanted us to pray and fast, and I fasted food wise before, but my fast this week is not watching TV. So I'm trying not to watch TV, which is probably not a good thing to be on this show. I try to keep up with it on the computer, but I'm not watching TV this week. So
Okay.
This will be my. I'll start back Monday, watching TV, but I hadn't watched it this week.
Billy, did you watch the game last night?
I did not watch any of the Clippers last night, no.
Okay. Let me just say this. I've never been a James Harden fan. Okay, I think he's got a little dog.
I agree. Agreed.
Yeah.
But he can
And
play.
last night, he played like a dog. I didn't see a lot of interest, a lot of effort. I mean, if you can't get yourself ready to play in the playoffs, you're not worth having on a roster.
That's been my problem with the NBA. And I'm not saying it's everybody, but there are certain guys like a James Harden or, it's a small handful, but you get guys
that very small group.
You just can't rely on. And there's other guys that can't ever stay healthy. And I know that happens in every sport, but like Kawhi Leonard yesterday, we're talking about him. Like, you just can't rely on him to stay healthy for a lot of the regular season and then in the postseason too. So it just gets hard because, a lot of times these teams don't have the guys they need to have, whether it's healthy or even playing with effort.
On the other hand, Luka Duka always looks like he's ready to play.
Yeah.
He's good.
Anyway, it was just a little,
I've never seen a guy as big as he is, as slow as he is, but he is hard to guard, man. He knows how to use his body. It's fun to watch guys like that. Like Larry Bird knew how to do that too. He could use his body. I love watching people that can do that. They don't have the greatest athleticism, but they know how to play the game. And that's why Coach Donnelly used to say, son, you can't judge a book by its cover. Players come in all shapes and sizes. You got to find them.
Well, I'll say this. I'm a big Luka Duka fan.
He's good.
Luka Doncic can play.
Yeah.
I like Luka Duka better, but that's neither here nor there.
So you like the Mavericks to
I don't know.
to do some damage here?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, I think on paper, the Clippers are better. Here's the thing. James Harden, to me, looked very disinterested last night. And when Maxi Kleva hits 5 threes,
good luck.
The person guarding him ought to be ashamed.
Yeah.
It's not like he can put the ball on the floor and get anything done.
Yeah. Maxi Kleva.
Yes. So, Kelly, I know you're going to miss the first segment. Predators play-by-play voice, Pete Weber, will join us.
Okay. All right.
You'll get back just in time for a little bit more rant on my end. As most of you who watched this know yesterday, I came completely unglued on Comcast. And upon further review, those in the industry are telling me I should be yapping. Yes. Yeah.
You got a little help from the peanut gallery, huh?
There's a little skunk in the woodpile. Yes.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I think there's a good amount of people not happy about this.
Oh, people are pissed, and I can promise you this. If you think I'm going to sit back quietly on this platform and when we get on radio, while this crap goes on, forget it. I care about the baseball team too much, and there are too many people in this area that care about that baseball team. And for Comcast to just totally do one of these at you,
yeah,
screw that.
Well, if Comcast, if there's enough people that complain to Comcast and start taking their subscriptions away, then Comcast will listen, I promise. But if it's just a few, they couldn't give a rip.
Well, I will be a loud, angry voice in the wilderness.
Chop on.
Chop on. Yeah.
There you go.
Whatever.
Well, we've got an update. We've got
yes, and we have something around the update, Billy.
What would that be? Oh, yes, you're right.
Oh,
you're right.
Yeah. The pilot light just went on.
Not just a normal update anymore.
No,
we've got
it's sponsored.
Sponsorship. So we'll have
this
to
junk you put out there is sponsored.
Not just a Titans draft update anymore. The update is brought to you by
The update.
Yeah, Lori Burnett Leland with USA Mortgage. You can visit her online at mortgageladyyusa.com. That's mortgageladyyusa.com. Couple
George,
NBA games.
Did she hold on, Billy? Did she consult you about Billy's updates? Did she said, if I'm going to sponsor this, we're going to have to put some more meat on the bone with the updates?
Oh, I will handle that here in the very near future.
I mean, she wouldn't just sponsor any old update. She's
there's
a reason. You mean where you read today's schedule to us?
There's a reason she's sponsoring.
Does she really know what she's dealing with you, Billy? Does she really know that? Does she understand the depths that she's going?
What do you think she's thinking as she hears this?
I don't know, but like I thank her for absolutely thank her for sponsoring.
Yeah.
But like if she knew Billy, like we know Billy, she might think, yeah, I'm not sure I'm going to do that, George. I might think about sponsoring something else, but not Billy.
No, there's a reason.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
Okay,
welcome to the show.
We've got the Bucks and the Pacers tonight at 5:30.
We know that.
That is game 6.
Those Indy games seem to start a little early, don't they? I bet the people in Indy are not all that thrilled, but keep going.
Tonight at 8, Knicks and the Sixers, game 6.
Have you all heard the story that the owner of the Sixers?
Yes, the 76ers owner, Michael Rubin, has purchased tickets for tonight's game against the Knicks in an attempt to block Knicks fans from overrunning the Wells Fargo Center.
You want a good story, Kelly, that will increase the attractiveness of the update?
Let's hear it.
Years ago, when he was the principal owner of the Predators, Tom Cigarand got very tired of watching Blackhawks fans take over Bridgestone.
Yeah.
And so for a playoff series, he made it virtually impossible for the Chicago fans to get tickets. Now, smart aleck me on the air said, you can do this all you want. It isn't going to work. Well, it did work. And so for game 1 of that series, and I know Pete's probably nodding his head going, oh, I remember, there weren't 500 Blackhawk fans in the stands. And so I called Jerry Helper the next night and I said, you've got to give me Tom Cigarand's number. And he goes, why? I said, because I'm calling to apologize. And we had a great conversation. Tom was very gracious about it. We spent about 45 minutes on the phone. We solved all the world's problems that night. He was right, and I was wrong.
Yeah, Sixers owner Michael Rubin bought more than 2,000 tickets for Game 6 tonight, giving them to first responders, healthcare professionals, and other Philadelphia-based organizations. So they are not letting Knicks fans take over tonight.
I like it.
What happens, though, when you see Spike Lee on the front row?
Oh, you're going to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he'll probably be giving Tyrese Maxey the choke sign after he had 48 2 nights ago. Unbelievable.
Also, real quick, back to that Bucks game, Bucks Pacers at 5:30. Damian Lillard has been upgraded to questionable for Game 6 tonight for the Bucks. So, I guess upgraded. He was doubtful. Now he's questionable.
Well, that ain't all of it.
And then Giannis is still doubtful on the injury report.
And as you know, Kelly, and I know Pete's watching this, Greeks are not necessarily great athletes. Giannis right now is number one. His brother, who I don't think is with the Bucks anymore, would be number two.
Mm-hmm. Don't say
Nick Markakis, the former Brave, would be third. And I'm fourth.
No, you're not even in the top million, dude.
We're not great athletes. Carry on, Billy.
We got some hockey tonight. One game tonight.
Hold on a second. Pete, I can see you. Are you enjoying the update? He said he was. What's wrong with him?
Hey, Lori Burnett is sponsoring this. So.
I know she
is.
We
know. Hey, we know. And she's rethinking it as we speak right now.
There may be a cancellation notice
Francis.
By 2:15.
Bruins Maple Leafs tonight at 7, and the Maple Leafs might be in trouble. Austin Matthews has been ruled out for the Maple Leafs tonight. So
what happened to him? Matthews. What's wrong with him?
He missed the third period of Game 4 and all of Game 5 with what the Leafs have deemed a lingering illness. So, I mean, I would guess he's sick of some sort.
Now, here's one thing about it. They'll have, 19,000 inside the arena?
But
they'll
outside,
probably have more than that outside.
They call it Jurassic
Park.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's an amazing scene.
Yeah. And it's not just for the late rounds. I mean, this is every playoff series.
Oh, yeah.
For the Raptors, too, they do it. All right, interesting NFL piece. The Steelers obviously have Justin Fields. And, he may not play quarterback. I mean, I would guess he plays some quarterback this year, but he could be a return man. In a live recording of Cam Hayward's podcast from the Steelers draft party over the weekend, running back Jalen Warren said that Smith suggested that Fields, that's Danny Smith, the special teams coordinator for the Steelers, that he suggested that Fields, who the Steelers acquired in March, could return kickoffs with the rule change preventing players from moving until the returner touches the ball. So Justin Fields could be returning kickoffs for Chicago this year. And we'll see if he actually ends up playing quarterback, too.
I believe Kirk Cousins will not be doing that in Atlanta.
Going to try a little Cordell Stewart action with Pittsburgh.
This sounds great until he gets hurt.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true. But, I mean, he can play receiver, I mean, in the NFL, I think, with how physical he's big. He's a great athlete.
There's no doubt about that.
That's what Cordell Stewart did, Billy. You know who he is?
No. Who's Cordell Stewart?
Gosh.
Oh, my gosh.
Was he playing in the 1970s?
No. Played in the 2000s, man. Grew up.
Cordell Stewart.
Man, they called him Slash.
And on the college level, he's famous for throwing a Hail Mary in the end zone at the Big House and beating Michigan on the final play of the game.
Interesting.
That's right.
Learn something new every day.
Well,
gosh, Billy.
I'll go to YouTube and it'll be my homework.
Yeah, please.
Tiger Woods is in the news. He has accepted a special exemption to play in the U.S. Open. So I think a lot of the talk was that Tiger, this is his last Masters, maybe his last major. Well, he has had a special exemption to play in next month's U.S. Open at Pinehurst Resort and Country Club in North Carolina. So 3-time U.S. Open winner is going to give it a shot. We'll see how long he lasts. So that's the Tiger news.
That's the
update.
There.
That's your update.
Okay. Kelly, kind of give me a grade on the update.
I'm going to say right in the middle, man. I'm going to say C. I'll give it a C plus for Billy. Okay, C plus. He didn't know who Slash was, which is really disappointing because
Takes
Slash
him
didn't play
down.
that time. Yeah, that didn't play that long ago. I mean, I like the Tiger news because we don't ever talk about golf, and y'all know I love golf. I mean, Tiger wanted to get to the Masters, and he did it for the 25th straight time, made the cut, and then after that, he said, "I'm good, man," and he finished dead last. So I don't know how you get an exempt. Of course, he's Tiger Woods, but I thought you got an exemption for the rest of your life in the U.S. Open. I guess it doesn't work that way because he's won the U.S. Open before, a couple of times.
3 times, yeah.
I don't know.
Thank you for the golf update. That was riveting.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And then I've got to go. I've got to go because we've got car troubles in Troy, Alabama, and we're supposed to be going to get my son. We're supposed to be getting my son either tomorrow or Saturday, and we were going to be bringing him home, anyway with a trailer, and now I might be lugging a car home too. So I'm trying to figure all that out. So he gets out of class at 2, so that's where we're going.
Did you send him down there in a jalopy?
It's not a jalopy. No, it's not a jalopy, but it's a finicky car, and I'm not going to tell you what it is, but it's very finicky. Okay, it's very safe. My wife wanted me to get him in something safe, and it's very safe. But sometimes we have issues, and today we have issues. And I wanted to scream and pull my hair out when she told me at 7:30 this morning.
Oh, I love it. Okay, we'll see you in a little while.
See you.
You will be replaced by the voice of the Nashville Predators, Pete Weber. We're going to find out all kinds of stuff. What was the ride out to Vancouver like? Was the ride back a little more joyous? My answer, I suspect it was. We're back after this.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
As some of you may already know, we're making some changes in our programming. Simply put, beginning Monday, May the 21st, and yes, that date did have to change, we will go into a 4 to 6 p.m. time slot to do this podcast, but we will also simulcast it on radio on 95.9 FM. And for those of you who watch in the Rutherford, Williamson County area, on 107.9 as well. The purpose of this is very simple. I want to be able to take phone calls. While I've enjoyed the podcast format, I have greatly missed the fact that I'm not able to talk to you all. And I don't feel like I have quite the pulse that I used to for that reason. If you go back through my 30 years as a broadcaster, I always enjoyed taking phone calls. I'm looking forward to getting back to that. So mark the date, Monday, May the 21st, 4 to 6 p.m., and thanks for all the support. Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. Well, for 25 great years, Pete Weber has been the play-by-play voice of the Nashville Predators. And one of the things I learned about Pete very early, he and I share a love of knowing about announcers, critiquing them, figuring out where they are and where they've been and all that kind of stuff. So as we bring him up, mostly to talk about the Predators, Pete, first of all, on really short notice, thanks for doing this.
Glad to do it, George. This is always going to be some fun. I've looked forward to this for a while. So this is my debut with you in this format.
Oh, wow. That's scary. Tell me about Bob Cole, who apparently was the voice of hockey in Canada, died a week ago at the age of 90.
He was very much in love with the game. He was in love with his hometown and home area in Newfoundland. And he was the man who I think portrayed that love of the game absolutely very well. I'll put it that way. He could grab your emotions, take you with him throughout the course of a game and its developments. And whether or not you were a fan of the specific team that might have been involved, and really, he was a network broadcaster, so he wasn't like me. He wasn't trying to, boost the Predators. He was trying to boost the game for his entire audience, and he did it so very well. He could be a little feisty. I recall, and I won't tell the story right now, when he couldn't get the pregame lineups from a certain coach who used to coach the Nashville Predators, and that got a little dicey, shall we say? But yes. He walked away from that particular meeting without the information he felt that he needed, but he probably should have been given.
How good does it feel, though, when people stop you in the concourse and a quarter of a century later say, I didn't know the first thing about hockey, but you and Crispy taught me?
It makes the both of us feel very good about it, as a matter of fact. And there was sort of like a situation like that earlier today. Crispy came down for practice in order to get a little audience with the Vancouver Canucks head coach, Rick Tocchet. He coached Rick Tocchet in junior hockey.
Right.
He got Rick Tocchet drafted by the Philadelphia Flyers. The Flyers had to ask Terry how to spell his name so they could draft him. And I think there's a great mutual admiration society there. So Rick is grateful to Crispy, and so many fans are grateful to Crispy to make certain that he illuminated their lives with this game.
So there's been a lot of talk about Sunday, and in all of your years of broadcasting hockey, given what was at stake, have you ever been around a more gut-wrenching loss?
I felt like I was, in a way, hockey's Ralph Branca on Sunday evening.
Oh, wow.
To go back to that home run that Ralph Branca gave up to Bobby Thompson on October the 3rd, 1951, because that was as gut-wrenching as could have gotten. But the difference would be there was still the Predators still live on to play another game. That Ralph Branco home run to Bobby Thompson ended the Dodgers' 1951 run, and the Giants were the ones who went on to the World Series against the Yankees. But I really did feel like that, yes.
Pete, all of us have assumed that, other than a casket being on the airplane, that it was probably a funeral home, but I hear it really wasn't.
No, it wasn't. The guys, and this is a very difficult series to really break down emotionally, because the coaches on both sides have been like, I liked the game we played, but they just lost. Or I didn't like the game we just played and they just had won. So it's kind of difficult to figure out how they truly are evaluating all of this. And are we all going back now to the Billy Bean Moneyball days and the analytics that have come into hockey as well as baseball at this point in time? This was a series where, I mean, I was talking with Ryan O'Reilly on the plane, talking with Gus Nyquist on the plane. Those guys were all, I mean, you talk about the power of positive thinking. And they had that there working for them. And obviously it worked for them in game number 5 in Vancouver. That was just an incredible performance, particularly in the perspective of what had preceded it directly.
Well, to me, it speaks of a character issue. I mean, clearly Andrew Burnett must have pushed some good buttons.
Yes.
Some players must have maybe even more pushed some good buttons, because I think most of us thought they're going to get trashed in Vancouver.
Well, some of us did get trashed, but not for the game. We got trashed other than that. But this
Are you naming names?
I'm not going to name names. No,
that's a good move.
I don't do that. I just don't do that. But this was, if you can imagine what it was like for people just walking around. It wasn't like anyone was walking around on eggshells. We use that phrase quite a bit, not wanting to, disturb anybody or anything. But they just felt like they were going to be able to get that job done. And obviously they did. And it was a tremendous, tremendous performance. And UC Saros certainly first and foremost among them. But how about, the goal scored by Roman Josi? He gets his first of the series. And then first ever goal that was scored to win the game, when you get right down that to Alex Carrier. And that was a difficult shot to see, except from my angle where I was. I could see that go into the net, but there were some people at different angles in the building that couldn't see that as clearly. It was kind of like that time that Patrick Kane won a Stanley Cup in overtime for the Chicago Blackhawks, and hardly even the goaltender saw the puck go in the net.
Pete, I was on the phone earlier this week with our friend Jerry Helper, a longtime media relations director of the Preds. And gosh, this would have been like 97 or maybe early 98. He comes to town and his job is to try to get media to give this half a chance.
Yeah.
He knows it's a market that knows absolutely nothing about hockey, could care even less at that point. And I can remember one day he said to me, the Stanley Cup playoffs are unlike anything you could ever imagine. And we laughed about it Monday because my reaction was, yeah, whatever. And now looking back on it and seeing how much I enjoy that. Pete, is there anything better in sports in postseason stuff than this tournament?
Not that I can possibly imagine. No. I mean, this has been, through Super Bowls, World Series, all that stuff. No, the day-to-day drama that this unfolds for you, especially these now are all best of 7 series. When I started, we had best of 3 to get going and then best of 5 before moving on to the best of 7. The best of 7, I think, is the format that brings out the best in the competitors and probably the best for the fans, because there's no relaxing until it's all over. And this is not going to be over for a while yet. I hope that's the case for the Predators, sure. But if they force a game 7, if they win tomorrow night, that might be the absolute ultimate to see what that would be like, and to hear what the fans in Vancouver might be like after all that.
Give me your best theory on why this Predator team has struggled more at home than they have on the road.
Yeah, George, that's a great point, and I don't know that I can get a real good handle on why that is. But at the start of the year, it was abysmal. And since then, in this playoff run that went back to the cancel the U2 experience at the Sphere in Las Vegas, and then went on the 18-game unbeaten string, they, since that point in time, have been pretty heavy on home ice. Now, home ice, as we know now, really doesn't make much of a difference anymore. I'd like to say that it does. But, hey, the Predators won the President's Trophy the year after they went to the Cup final, and they got eliminated in game number 7 on home ice by Winnipeg. So all the rinks are standardized now. There's not much in the way of truly difference other than the noise level of the fans within the building. And that can separate you a little bit. I'm just going to caution people, take a look tonight at the game in Toronto, game number 6 of their series with the Leafs and the Boston Bruins. That is one where I think that there could be some cardiac necessary physicians to be on hand for.
Tell me this, when the Predators first got to town,
mm-hmm.
television ratings in the postseason were like test patterns.
Yes,
nobody was watching, and little by little, it looks like something is taking hold. Is it just simply that geographically all these new markets are
mm-hmm.
springing interest, or is there more to it than that?
I think it's the fact that they have seen what the product is and what these playoffs are like, and nobody wants to miss on it if they have a chance to not miss on it. As a matter of fact, ran in today outside the building on the plaza, a husband and wife who are here from Vancouver with their dog Cooper, and they happen to be in town for other reasons. And here they are trying to scare up tickets for tomorrow night's game because they know how difficult they are to get for them when they're back home. So this is something that goes right across the continent, Canada or the U.S., doesn't matter. It's great fun to watch. And I'd have to say the show, generally speaking, is one that is very satisfying for the fan.
In a minute, I'm going to let Billy in to ask some questions about the series.
About Slash?
He was watching, wasn't he?
I might have to.
So, Pete, back when the Predators made the run all the way to the Stanley Cup,
yep,
a memory that I have of it was every other day, if you all were on the road, a group of us would get together
mm-hmm.
and watch it, kind of party style. Then they'd come home, and for 2 nights, it'd be in the arena. And I remember looking at one of my best buddies who has the seat next to me in seats 3 and 4 up there. And I turned to him and I said, I'm exhausted. Now, it was a great exhausted.
Yes.
But I was exhausted. It's a 2-month deal.
Yeah.
What's a memory or two for you of that 2 months that maybe you'll never forget?
Well, I'll tell you at the end for me, then I'll get into those. But on June 11th, when it was all over, I had no more energy left in the body. There was nothing to tap into. There was no jumper cable to attach to get it going again. But during that run, I'm never going to forget sweeping the Chicago Blackhawks. Now, that's round number 1. This is the top club in the league that the Predators swept. And they did not allow a goal to the Blackhawks on their home ice. Pekka Rinne was absolutely incredible there. He made it possible for me to escape Chicago without hearing that song Chelsea Dagger once. And what a relief that got to be, because I was thinking about the playoffs in 2010 when the Predators had a chance to take a 3-2 series lead, right?
Yes.
And here you had Jason Arnott calling for the puck from Marty Erat, and that got intercepted, and the tying goal was scored, and then in overtime, the winner. But without that, you're going on and the entire perhaps playoff history of the Predators could be rewritten. But that was a special, special time. And then you go on to the series in St. Louis, and we had to wait for a long time. You might recall the broken leg that was suffered.
Game 1.
Yep. And that was when we found out the Blues were not living up to the terms of the agreement with the players. They only had one ambulance available. They had to wait until a second ambulance came in there before they could resume play. And then to go on to that series against the Anaheim Ducks. And
time out. I'd never heard that story. It involves Kevin Fiala.
Yes, Kevin Fiala's broken femur.
Wow.
With the Kings. Yeah, he and his team got knocked out last night in their game with the Edmonton Oilers. So if the Predators win this series, by the way, they're going to move on. The bracket stays the same. They would face Edmonton next. So I got a feeling that if there is a victory tomorrow night, when we pack for the game to go back for Game 7 in Vancouver, which would be Sunday afternoon, we might have to pack for about a week because we would go right on again to Edmonton and just stay in Western Canada.
Okay, you may have a scoop. Do you think you know start time if there's a Game 7?
I've heard this rumor, and I'm only going to say it's only a rumor, folks. Do not chisel this in stone anywhere. But I've heard an afternoon game for ABC.
Wow. Okay.
Now, afternoon, which time zone? That's
right.
Another matter altogether.
Relative.
Yeah, exactly.
Billy, say hello to Pete Weber.
Pete,
tell him about those updates you do.
Yeah, tell me about Slash. No,
I thought, that was one of the better, I think, and there are quite a few great calls when you think about it, back in the man who was the voice of college football for so very long. And I'll never forget listening when Slash completed that Hail Mary against Michigan. And I also won't forget it because my wife is an Ohio State grad, and she absolutely loved that play to see that happen as it did. Claudia absolutely loved that. But think about great plays, and Slash was a guy who did that on the college level, tried to bring some of that with him to the pros, didn't quite work as well, but he was, I thought, just a fantastic athlete to watch.
I've got some homework tonight. I'll take a look at that. But
he's on YouTube for you. You got it.
I got it. Pete, let me ask you about kind of the nature of hockey. And I got to thinking about this. The Preds in this series feels like short periods of seconds, whether it's 8 seconds, 12 seconds that have just barely slipped by them, where they go, oh shoot, there's 2 goals. Now we're down, and then you look, you snap your finger and the game's over and you just lost. So why is hockey like that? And it's not even just the playoffs. I mean, they've had some regular season games like that where,
oh yes,
if you take away those 12 seconds or whatever, that minute, the Preds might have it and they might have that win. So what is it about that? And would you agree that, really short periods of time have just kind of hurt the Preds, especially in this series?
Yes, it has. And I feel like I'm speaking to a Nashville Bills backers group right now, thinking about the Bills and Kansas City Chiefs in 13 seconds a couple of years ago. Very same thing. And by the way, while I was in Vancouver, I have been a guest of the Vancouver Bills backers, and they dropped off items for me at the team hotel the last couple of days. So we all, I think we suffer our miseries together, and our triumphs are celebrated together. But sports is great that way. But Billy, I got to say, yeah, the seconds on the clock are very, very important. And you have to be alert as to the possibilities of what could happen.
Billy, hold on. We got to find out about the Bills Club in Vancouver. Is that a large group?
Yes, it is. So Pete Rogers from Rochester, our equipment man, Jeff Biddle, his assistant, who's from South Buffalo, a bunch of us, and our flight crew all went to the Nashville Bills backers a few years ago. This would be 2 years ago when they played the Cleveland Browns. And unfortunately, they lost that game. But you got to talk about a party that they put on. They took over an entire upper floor of a bar down on the waterfront in Vancouver. Absolutely spellbinding.
I love it.
That's awesome. Well, it'll be spellbinding tomorrow at Bridgestone.
Yes.
Early puck drop, 6:00. And I know, the traffic for, what was it, George? Well, both games, really. But that last Friday's game, obviously had a little bit of a late arriving crowd.
It was intense.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it obviously filled up, of course. But for tomorrow night, if you had a couple keys for the Preds that you absolutely have to do this in order to beat the Canucks tomorrow night, what would those be?
I'm not going to talk about everybody like say, got to have a good start. You have to have a good finish too. So let's just talk about continuing to put the pressure on Vancouver, spend more time in their zone than they spend in yours. It's kind of like my parents used to say, go mess up Billy's backyard. Don't let him mess up yours. And I think that's the same sort of approach they have to take. The Canucks can smother you, but the Predators have shown the ability to smother the Canucks. So who's going to do the better job of smothering tomorrow night? And I think that's what it all comes down to.
Okay. You got this one through to me. When we get back into the simulcast part of this, a little bit of radio, a little bit of podcast.
Yeah.
One day when you're really free and can come out here, let's do an hour and a half and just tell war stories.
Be happy to do it. And if you want, I could bring that other guy with me too, the formerly red-haired fellow.
Pete, do you know what he said to me? It was my final day. I know what you're like. Well, when are we talking about?
Yeah.
So my final day in radio, and they had this going away deal at Barrel House.
Mm-hmm.
And he told the story on the air that Willie told him that if I was going to throw a haymaker at him, that there was a certain position I would get in. And I'd never heard this. And Crispy unloads this that day. And I'm like, that is not true. And Crispy goes, oh, yes, it is.
Yeah. He remembers. He remembers.
Oh, he's a beauty. You guys have been a great team for so many years. And as I tell people, the growth of hockey in Nashville is tied directly to you two guys. So thank you.
Well, thank you for that. That's an honor. Believe me.
You're really nice to come on ridiculously short notice. Pete, as always.
It was not as short as Tyson Berry had prior to the game Monday night in Vancouver. He took the last bus to the rink, and I think he had roughly a half an hour to get ready to play the game.
Oh, my God. So we doubled for you.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you. You got it, George.
He's a good one. He's the play-by-play voice of the Nashville Predators. Been a good friend to a lot of ours for now a quarter of a century. Pete Weber joining us on the show. After the break, Kelly will return. Sadly, so will I. You're going to hear more of what you heard yesterday. Please stay with us.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 615-832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances. And Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Convenience and value, two words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
Nashville, get ready for the greatest show on turf. Electrifying, high-octane, non-stop spring football action. Starting at only $30. Don't miss the season opener this April 27th at Municipal Auditorium.
Hi, I'm Jeff Fisher. The Nashville Cats are bringing arena football back to Nashville.
Grab your tickets now at thenashvillecats.com and be part of the action.
I guess it's announcer day on the show. And as most of you could see, Jeff Him, play-by-play voice of the Nashville Sounds, will join us right around 3 o'clock. Kelly Holcomb back in on the scene. Kelly, you missed a good interview with Preds play-by-play voice Pete Weber.
How'd that go?
It was awesome. He's a great storyteller, and I happen to love listening to his stories.
I heard you say something about maybe coming back doing an hour and a half segment or something like that.
Oh, yeah. One day when you're not in on a Friday, I want to get Pete in, and we'll just kick back and tell a few.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
He looks like he could tell some stories, man. I met him at your bowling event, man. He looks like he's that guy.
He's been a great friend now for about a quarter of a century. So some of you who saw the show yesterday know that I came unglued about Comcast and the decision to not get a deal done with the Bally Sports thing. Ultimately, that will make for a crappy summer of not getting to watch Atlanta Braves baseball. And as I said earlier today, you can take this to the bank. If Comcast thinks that people like me are going to shut up, think again. Every day on the show, when we get into radio, we're going to do something like Day 28 held hostage, not by Iran or Iraq, but by Comcast. So let me throw out a couple of things here. When you say the Bally Sports Group, and Billy, go ahead and put that logo up there. What the deal is that Bally's Casino paid Sinclair. Sinclair, by the way, owns Fox 17 here in Nashville. Sinclair is really the Bally Sports Network. Bally's bought naming rights. If I was Bally's and all this crap was going on, I'd tell them to take their naming rights and shove it. Why would a casino want this kind of bad pub to begin with? But here's what I'm really hacked off about, Kelly. I suspected yesterday, and reading some of the stuff a day later, my worst fears in this have sort of been true to form. It sounds like Comcast really lowballed Bally's, who said, It's interesting. Bally's Sports Group, which is really Sinclair, worked a deal earlier in the week with DirecTV. So what's the difference? I don't know. I haven't been in on the negotiations, but several TV expert people who spoke to The Athletic say that Comcast absolutely lowballed. That sucks.
It's all about making money, George. You know that.
Oh, I get that. I get that. This thing, Diamond Sports Group, is just simply a name that they have put together for all of these sports properties that Bally's-Sinclair have the rights to. I think it's 13 major league teams. There are quite a few hockey teams, including the Preds. The Grizzlies are part of a group in the NBA that's part of this. At some point, the heat is going to get applied, and Comcast is going to regret this lowball thing. This is bullcrap.
It's not good. Braves fans should be upset. That's their team.
You think about it. Once the NHL and NBA playoffs are over in early June, there's about a 3-month period until college and pro football start where that's the biggie.
Right.
Comcast has basically said, we don't care. Oh, but they can't wait to tell us about that $8 refund we're going to get. They painted such a rosy picture. I wanted to vomit when they sent me yesterday the whole, you'll be getting a refund and you'll get a credit and you won't have to do anything to earn it. Well, whoop-de-doo.
You need to call them back and say, I don't want my refund. I want some Braves games on. That's what we all want. And I promise you this. People will control it. If they start axing the Comcast subscription and going to other platforms like DirecTV, like I am, DirecTV Stream and all this streaming stuff, they'll stop. They'll buck up. They'll pay the money. They'll get in the game again, but it may be too late.
Well, there's some issues right now that sports fans are having to deal with. And we're going to spend a little time getting into these down the road. First of all, it's this. Okay, this one is stupid. These teams want their fans to see their product.
Mm-hmm.
It's stupid. It's also Comcast. Comcast doesn't give a damn about you as a customer. This is all about their bottom line. And the Atlanta Braves be damned. Here's the other thing that is starting to emerge in our city. Our city's downtown has turned into an obstacle course.
Yes.
And a friend of mine went to the Cats game on Saturday. Spent $46 for parking. That's price gouging. You can call it whatever you want. In the city, it appears to me, has sold off all of the old, what were the things that you would put your money in? The meters, the parking meters. All the parking meters downtown are gone. And now you're being fleeced by these parking companies. It's absurd. $46 for 3 hours? That's not right.
We vacationed in Florida not too long ago, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and went down there, and we were on the Gulf Coast, Perdido Key, Pensacola, Orange Beach, Alabama, and there's a place called Floribama. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's right on the Alabama-Florida line. They had a concert there, and we were going by, And I could not believe how much they were charging. Like, whatever happened to the $15 to park or the $20 to park? It was $50 to park. And people were going. I mean, it didn't. I could not believe. I was like, is that how much that's gone up? Like, I'm scared to go to a ball game now because $50, man. I'm not paying $50 to park for, like you say, 3 hours.
It's absurd. What's going on? It's price gouging, pure and simple. And the sports fan is kind of getting screwed in these kind of things. Comcast, they don't give a damn.
No.
That they simply are all about bottom line. They don't care that there are thousands of Atlanta Braves fans who aren't going to see this stuff. Well, look, I'm not saying it'll work, but if you think I'm going to stay quiet about this, get ready. I'm not.
We know.
I promise.
We've
I know.
seen.
The question is, do they know?
Or do they care?
That's the bigger worry. Okay. So much for rant number 2. It will become more of a joke on the show.
Become more of already is.
Plaster held hostage. Day 2.
Billy, it seems like it's already a joke.
Yeah.
Am I right, Billy?
It's already a joke.
Grow up, George. Let's go. Move on. Get another subscription to something else. Let's go.
Billy, you're fired. Okay, after the break, stat of the day, and then Sounds play-by-play voice Jeff Him will join us from the ballpark. First Horizon. Busy place. It'll be a busy weekend. Hang with us.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2024 season. Spend your nights and weekends at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, throwback deals, live music, and more. Top talent will take the field at First Horizon Park against the AAA Minnesota Twins, Baltimore Orioles, Atlanta Braves, St. Louis Cardinals, Cincinnati Reds, and more. Tickets start at just $10 and are available now at NashvilleSounds.com. We will see you in Hit City.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
You know, starting to save for your future doesn't have to be difficult. Let Wilson Bank and Trust help tone up your financial goals this year. Our certificates of deposits or CDs can help your money work harder with our competitive rates, earning you more than ever before. WBT checking options allow you to earn rewards you can really use, like a high interest rate or cash back on check card purchases when you meet some e-banking qualifications. Visit your closest Wilson Bank and Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC.
Top of the hour on a Thursday. Big weekend over at First Horizon Park. A lot going on in Nashville in general. We're going to talk with play-by-play voice of the Nashville Sounds, Jeff Hem, coming up. But first, we got a baseball stat of the day. So
good. So if we don't know it, we can dump it in his lap.
He might be available in the bullpen there.
Mm-hmm.
They're open during the week, Tuesday through Friday. John English is out in Shelbyville, Tuesday through Friday, noon to 5, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 5. Give them a call, 931-492-4304. All right, here's a good baseball one. Shota Imanaga, is that how you pronounce his name?
It sounded good. I've seen him pitch.
Okay, we're getting the thumbs up from Jeff. He has dazzled audiences with a .78 ERA in his first 6 starts. Which 1980s pitcher has the record for the lowest ERA in his first 6 starts?
Kelly, would it be, first of all, I think I know the answer.
Oh.
Yeah. Kelly, would it be fair to say you will be of no use here?
Well, I've got one.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Would he have played for the LA Dodgers? Is that who you're thinking about, George?
That's who I'm thinking.
Would it be Fernando?
That's what I'm thinking.
Fernando Valenzuela.
Let's bring Jeff into this mess so that if he gets it wrong, we can blame it on him. Hello, Jeff Hem.
You're going to have to do the old unmute, Jeff, first before. There we go.
There he is.
Hello. I didn't even touch that. How did that get muted? All right. Hello. Hello, guys. How we doing?
And hello again, everybody.
And hello again, everyone. I guess it'd be more like, and hello again, everybody. Welcome to Dodger Stadium.
Nice.
Nice.
Very nice, Finn.
I like that.
I actually heard another show, not in this market, talking about this stat earlier today.
Oh.
So I do know the answer. It is what I would have guessed. Full disclosure, I will honestly, right hand on the book, say that would have been my guess. You guys are on the right track here.
On the right track. Okay.
No, I mean you've got it. You've got it.
We've got it. Okay, because the other one I thought about was Dwight Gooden. Who
that's been a good one.
Whatever, 84.
Yeah.
Hit the scene and just show it. Show us a winner, Adam, baby.
Fernando Mania. I wondered about Mark the Bird Fidrich too, with the Tigers, because wasn't he a Rookie of the Year in maybe that was not the 8, maybe that was late 70s.
I'm thinking late 70s.
Yeah.
On the Bird. ABC used to do a Monday night game of the week, and he hit the scene on a Monday night. Cosell was part of that telecast.
Oh boy!
And he's talking. The Birds talking to the baseball, and they're 51,000 at Old Tiger Stadium that night, and it was electric.
The Bird was 1976 AL Rookie of the Year.
Okay, so a little earlier, but I feel like he got off to one of those crazy starts. But yeah, Valenzuela, man, that's pretty good company for Imanaga to be in. Fernando Mania in '81, from what I've seen over the years, was a pretty wild year. The way he captivated the country, based on the way games were shown and a different media landscape back then. So like something could really capture the country in a very different way than what we would call that happening today. Pretty cool company for Imanaga to be in.
.33 ERA is crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's basically a run every 27 innings. That's what it is.
Wow.
That plays.
Jeff, why did Hideo Nomo cross my mind?
Yeah, that's a good call too. That would have been 95, I think.
Yeah, he was that was my thought, was he's not in the 80s.
Right. Yeah, but he was part of that stretch where, what was it, 5 years in a row the Dodgers had the Rookie of the Year.
Rookie of the Year, yeah.
And Nomo was in 90. Nomo was mid-90s. That much I'm confident in. But yeah, so a little bit after that. But again, kind of captured everything with a similar dominance early in a career, even though he'd already been in Japan for a little bit. So
Oral Hershiser pitch for the Dodgers. Was he a lot?
pitch for the Dodgers?
See a lot later.
1988,
Yeah.
59 consecutive scoreless innings.
Did he
pitch
pitch
for the Dodgers? Good.
Figure it out, Billy. Good
He
gracious.
was one of their all-timers.
Yeah,
It's in the 80s. I mean, give me a break.
No, we're not accepting that.
Did you even know who Fernando was, Billy?
Yes, I did.
Oh, you did? Okay. Wow. Okay. That's shocking.
Okay, let's take Fernando down and let's get Jeff him in here. Kelly, do you have thoughts about the circumference of his booth or any of the stupid things you?
It looks a little wider now. I like it though.
Nothing's changed
nice.
from 2 weeks
I
ago.
know.
or
I
last
get
week.
it. I get it. I get it. I know. Everything's good, man. Everything copacetic. Have you got you a coffee? Have you got a coffee maker in there for you?
I got water. I got my stats
just water.
already up. I got my kids' artwork on the wall. I'm honored to give Kelly this elaborate booth tour here.
Right.
You are ready.
Yep, I'm ready. I had a feeling the topic would come up today.
Do we get ballpark cam?
Sure, we can give you ballpark cam.
Okay.
We got
look at
the
it.
pitchers are out there getting their work.
Yes.
I believe that is young Carlos Rodriguez throwing a bullpen side session. The infielders are going to be getting out there. You got Rick Sweet down by home plate doing his thing. David Tufo is the great infield coach. These guys, part of what makes this job fun is because you're here at the game hours before, which is just part of it. You see the hours that the guys put in. I mean, they're out there virtually every day, whether it's a beautiful day, whether it's a sweltering day, or somewhere in between. Not unlike any other professional sport, but when you're on the inside and around it, you really see the preparation that they put in, especially when they're at the AAA level on the cusp of the big leagues. There's a reason, whatever the reason is, there's a reason they are here and not up there yet, or not back up there yet. And a lot of it comes down to getting better on something sometimes really specific, sometimes something really broad. And so seeing them actually do it every day is really cool, because then there are the moments in the game where it pays off and okay, well, that was the curveball he's been working on off to the side, or that's the new grip that he tinkered with, or the dig at first by the first baseman. Okay, I watched them practice that at 3:00 today, and sure enough, it happened in the 8th inning in a tie game, and they make the play. And it's just a really cool part of this. Seeing Matt Olson, George, as a young prospect with the A's, and yes, he's amazingly naturally talented, but also the work that put in. You're less surprised when he's a perennial all-star now at the big league level, because you saw him when he was 22 putting in the work, for example.
I think for me, the most gratifying person to hit the big leagues out of First Horizon Park is Joey Wendell, who hustled his butt off.
That's a good one.
He's a part of that first team, or not?
Yes,
First team here at the new park.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was considered a prospect. He was not, number one prospect or anything like that, but they got him from Cleveland going into that 15 season. It was pretty much 3 full seasons of AAA ball before he even got a debut, and he just kept doing it day after day. And a guy is doing it right when because our managers would tell me this back then. They'd say, man, the number of opposing managers or opposing coaches that would come up to the Sounds managers those years and ask them about Wendell, like when the other team, when you are standing out like a sore thumb in a good way to the other team, you're doing something right. And that was Wendell. And it really wasn't so much, that he went 4 for 5 that he stood out. It was, he never dogged a ball. I mean, never. There would be a pop-up to the first baseman, and Joey was busting it down the line. There was a foul ball that he thought he might be able to get to from second base, and he couldn't. Ultimately, he was out of play. But he was over by that side wall in the blink of an eye. I mean, he never took a play off. And I was just watching him a little bit earlier. He's with the Mets now, and they're playing the Cubs this afternoon. I had the game on for a little bit. Here's Joey Wendell. He got up with the A's. He had a good run with Tampa Bay. Really, the Rays were the first team to really give him an extended opportunity to play, because Joey's individual tools never wowed you. So it took kind of the long game for him to impress you over time. And here he is. That was, almost 10 years ago in a sense that, and a big leaguer probably about 7 or 8 years ago. And he's been up there ever since, and just one of the all-time great human beings. I mean, I root for all these guys to get to the big leagues, but when you get a human being like a Joey Wendell, he was something special.
In my radio days, when we would do the show out at the new park, a guy that I would have on fairly often was Chad Pender. Chad Pender was a broadcast major, he told me. I think it was at Virginia Tech.
Yes.
And every time we'd have him on afterwards, he'd ask me broadcast questions. How does this equipment work? Hell, I don't know. Is he out of baseball?
He is. He retired, and what felt like to me kind of abruptly. It was last year. He'd started to bounce around. The Reds had picked him up, I want to say, going into 22, or maybe it was going into 23. And then it didn't work out, and he was released. And I later saw from one of the A's beat reporters who had kept up with former guys, and the transaction had come across, and she, I think it was Susan Slusser from the San Francisco Chronicle, who tweeted out, "Hey, I just spoke with Chad Pender, and he's decided to retire." And
wow.
It had the shock value because he's not of normal baseball retirement age. So I don't know the circumstances, but yes, unless something has changed in the last 12 months, to my knowledge, he is no longer playing in the game. Maybe he's researching equipment to come take your broadcast job, George.
You know what? He can have it. No, I'm just kidding. So I got one last thing I want to ask about, and then I'm going to turn it over to Kelly. Matt Holliday's son apparently is here this weekend. It looked like he was a little overmatched when Baltimore brought him up, but he won't be overmatched for long.
Well, he's raking at AAA with this entire Norfolk Tides offense as an Orioles affiliate that's in town this week. They're the reigning AAA champs. That system is so rich with talent. There is just literally not enough room for all of it on their 40-man roster and their 26-man roster in Baltimore. And they just a few days ago optioned Jackson back down, and the timing is such that here he is. So the number one prospect in baseball is playing against the Sounds this week. He's got a few hits already in the series. You can immediately see some of the individual tools, the raw speed running the bases. He had a double play turn opportunity at second base last night where we saw the arm. The player actually beat out the throw, just the nature of the way the play went down, but you could see the arm of Holliday. I mean, 20-year-old kid, number one pick 2 years ago out of high school. The raw talent is there. And, to me, it's a reminder because we talked about this last year when Bryce Terang was back down with the Sounds, went back up to the Brewers, and he is having a terrific season now. This sport, maybe more, in my opinion, than any other major sport, has the least linear path to major league success that you can find. It's very common for a guy to go up to the big leagues, and even if he does become a superstar, maybe even a Hall of Famer, it's very common for somewhere along the line, early on especially, to get sent back down. And it's also a reminder that this is now probably the first time, or at least when he was up there, was the first time in his life that he's ever struggled in the game of baseball. And it happens for everybody. Somewhere along the line, there's that first time rough patch, because I don't think people give credit enough to how good AAA ball players are. We certainly know how good big league ball players are. These guys are so good. They were always the cleanup hitter. They were always all conference. They were all, like all these guys as amateurs were the guy. And then you get into the melting pot of pro baseball where you look around and everybody's just as good as you are on some level, and especially at the major leagues. So it's not a linear path. Holliday is going to be just fine. He's only 20 years old. I know there's some shock value to, oh my gosh, they sent him back down. Maybe it's not going to work. We played 10 games, I think, for Baltimore, and maybe they did send him up too soon, but it's also not the worst thing in the world somewhere along the line to have a player humbled a little bit and to have to go back to the drawing board and figure some things out. Mike Trout was up and down a couple times early in his career. Greg, go look at the rookie numbers for really the first year and a half as a big leaguer for Greg Maddux. Go look at those numbers and see if it spells future Hall of Famer, because it doesn't. It's just a really, really hard game at this level and an amazingly hard game at the big league level. And the path is rarely linear where you go up and you never play another day in the minor leagues. It does not happen very often.
Kelly, I'm guessing you're going to ask, is it LED lighting or what kind of lighting?
I'm not going to ask that, George. We're over that. Relax, Francis.
Okay. Well,
since we're talking about players, and George brought up Joey Wendell.
Wendell.
Is there a guy? Joey Wendell. Is there a guy? I know you keep up with all of them that go to the big leagues, but is there a guy that you look to more, that you enjoyed really watching? When you called his games, is there a guy that you really look to when you look to the box scores and the stats and all that?
That's a great question. I think, Wendell's a good example. Another guy who comes to my mind who's now a mid to top level rotation pitcher in the big leagues is Chris Bassett. He's with the Toronto Blue Jays. He also was with the Sounds when we were an A's affiliate, went to the Mets, and now is with the Blue Jays and doing really well, just an anchor of a big league rotation. I remember Bassett coming back from an injury. This would have been 17. He had come back from Tommy John surgery, and Tommy John surgery is so common that it's so easy to think, oh, just snap of the finger, go through the rehab, you come back. We all know most of the guys throw harder, and you're back, and you're better than ever. And guys, that's the narrative. It's a long, arduous rehab, but the narrative is once that's over, sometimes you're even a better pitcher. It took Chris a long time to not only recover but redevelop that velocity and the feel for his pitches. And he had some really rough outings as a Sound after that surgery. It just did not happen as quickly for his process as it did for others. And then by 2018, he was back up with Oakland, doing pretty well. And then it just kept going with an upward trajectory. So whenever I see his name coming up, my mind goes back to seeing the behind the scenes of some really frustrating moments for him. Some moments, I'm sure, where he had all kinds of self-doubt soaking into his mind. And the cool thing about Chris is he would always be really open to talking about it. He was not trying to hide it. He was not trying to pretend that everything was going great. So it's even more special, in my opinion, now to see him back in the big leagues and doing really well, because again, like I talked about with Jackson Holiday, it's just the path for these guys is just not linear. It is an up and down mountain climb. And when you're at this level at AAA, you see a lot of the tough moments that make it really cool to see a guy later on when he's having big league success.
All right, so Jeff, this is another one of these questions. So I just saw where y'all are having Throwback Thursday, and it's always intrigued me because I love throwback uniforms, but it's always intrigued me, like when you're on the minor league level and you're at the AAA, you're at the highest minor league level, but what do you have to do marketing wise better than the Major League Baseball? Because Major League Baseball, they're already there, they're on Sports Center, they're automatically marketed. What different things does a minor league organization have to do to get fans involved?
Yeah, man, you are 2 for 2 on really good questions today, Kelly. I know George is going to have a follow-up to that. I mean that sincerely, because that one is something that we talk about in the front office all the time, because you're right. It is very different. And I've told you guys before, like with the ballpark atmosphere, the promotions and things, like we truly have to have something for everybody that might draw their interest to come out to the ballpark. And we want people who maybe aren't a big baseball fan to see this as a cool place to come to a game for some other reason, the food, the atmosphere, the fireworks, whatever. From a marketing standpoint too, where we have to be careful, and I'm talking about how great AAA players are, how good they are at what they do, and that's true, and we want to tell that story, but we can't get too specific sometimes months ahead of planning, a T-shirt night for infielder Tyler Black. He just got called up 2 days ago by the Brewers. You have to be careful in putting a guy on a billboard or promoting something with an upcoming promotion for a player, because that player could be gone very quickly to the big leagues, traded, hurt months later if you're planning too far ahead. So we want to market how good the players are and how good the baseball quality is. But if you get too specific, you do something where that player then is not there when you're coming to the payoff point of something that you planned to feature that player in a particular component months later. So we're going to promote as much as we can the quality of the baseball, but then we're also going to promote Booster, the mascot, and the fireworks and the food and just the fun that someone can have at the game, because we don't have the luxury of what, say, the Titans do. They know they can put, Will Levis on a lot of marketing collateral for the next few years, and that's going to draw some people out. We can only promote the actual players so much when we don't know how long we're going to have them, even though we know how good they are for however long they're with us.
Gotcha. So my last one is, I was just thinking when you were talking. So you got all these guys, they're in the Brewers organization, and they know the character of these guys. But when you get to the AAA level, and then they call you up, what is a coach looking for? I mean, I know he's looking for consistency, but what are the things that a coach is looking for? Because you're in his organization and they've done their study, they've done their homework on you. They know about your personality, your character, but what are they looking for to get you to the top level?
Well, I will say consistency, the word you mentioned, that is first and foremost. And that sounds cliche, but it is true, because when a big league team does call up a AAA player, especially if he's going up for the very first time, like Tyler Black, high-level prospect, he's going to have a long career, but he went up for the very first time 2 days ago. The Brewers at the big league level, even though they are well aware of who Tyler is and what he can do, part of why they called him up is because they know he can help them. And the reason they're confident he can help them is because his talent, yes, but also he's likely to give them, they know what they're going to get from him. And so the consistency is big, especially on the pitching side. The big league team does not want to call up a pitcher from AAA without the confidence that, as nasty as the slider might be or as hard as the fastball might be, if they're not confident he's going to throw enough strikes, that is a bigger leap of faith. So consistency does come into play, but also the specific reason of why that player, and maybe it's because the second baseman up there got hurt, so they're going to call up the sound second baseman. Sometimes it's that simple. It's just a position that they need somebody for. So that could be part of it. But also if they're lacking a left-handed hitter to come off the bench, they're a lot likelier to look at the best left-handed hitting option down here. So sometimes it gets really specific. Sometimes the player down here forces the organization's hand because they're just doing so well. The big league team feels like we'd be foolish not to give this guy a chance because he has shown he is dominating at the AAA level. So sometimes that is that's the reason of why that particular player was called up. It can be a lot of different reasons, but consistency at the end of the day is the biggest thing, because there's no matter who you're calling up, there's somewhat of a leap of faith in that player, especially if you're going up for the first time. And the better confidence they can have that he's going to do some level up there of what he's done down here is going to make that guy have a better chance to be the one they select.
Not only is he a good broadcaster, he's got way better lighting, as I continue to look like I'm in Mammoth Cave. Kelly, I must admit, your questions were great.
Thanks, George. It means everything coming from you.
I don't think it means it.
I could tell that was very sincere.
Yeah, really. Jeff, thank you as always.
Appreciate you, fellas. We'll talk soon.
You are a first-class human being.
Oh, stop. Now, I'm going to leave. You can go ahead and make fun of me after I'm gone. That'd be great.
Hey, see ya. Thank you.
See you, brother.
Okay, Jeff Him, play-by-play voice of the Nashville Sounds, joining us after the break. Some interesting thoughts about the Dirty Birds and that first pick they made in the draft. Oh, yeah. Stay with us.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As some of you may already know, we're making some changes in our programming. Simply put, beginning Monday, May the 21st, and yes, that date did have to change, we will go into a 4 to 6 p.m. time slot to do this podcast, but we will also simulcast it on radio on 95.9 FM. And for those of you who watch in the Rutherford, Williamson County area, on 107.9 as well. The purpose of this is very simple. I want to be able to take phone calls. While I've enjoyed the podcast format, I have greatly missed the fact that I'm not able to talk to you all. And I don't feel like I have quite the pulse that I used to for that reason. If you go back through my 30 years as a broadcaster, I always enjoyed taking phone calls. I'm looking forward to getting back to that. So mark the date, Monday, May the 21st, 4 to 6 p.m., and thanks for all the support.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs.
Here's one of the all-time great quotes concerning the Atlanta Falcons draft. This is an anonymous former general manager in the NFL telling The Athletic, quote, "I'd love to know what the conversations were in Atlanta leading up to that and why there was no adult supervision."
It's pretty accurate.
Is that not hilarious? So what is your opinion of that move of drafting Michael Penix?
I think it's what we've talked about on the show, with Terry and with Watson. I think those guys, you get some organizations, and I thought the Titans did a really good job of staying disciplined. And I think the Pittsburgh Steelers do a good job of their needs. But I think once Michael Penix was there and they thought he was going to be there, I think they panicked and said, hey, we can't pass that up. He's the best player on the board. Let's don't pass it up. Let's go ahead and get him, even though we signed Kirk Cousins to a multi-million-dollar a year salary and a contract. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously you got your heir apparent in Atlanta, but like, does that create some tension in the room? Because what if Kirk Cousins, I know he's coming off, his Achilles injury, but what if Kirk Cousins goes in there and he lights it up? I mean, you're going to have the same situation as you had when you got Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers in San Diego a long time ago, where Drew Brees didn't play good. They drafted Phillip Rivers, then Drew Brees started playing really well. And everybody wanted Phillip Rivers to play. So that's kind of the situation that they got here. And I feel like they just panicked, George. And instead of going after something that they needed, they went after the best guy that was on their board. And I don't know. I feel like there might be some tension in that position meeting room. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, I think you might be right.
My thing here is, if you're Kirk Cousins, and again, I don't know how the conversations went, but it feels like he was really excited to be in Atlanta. He was at the Masters. He got interviewed there on ESPN throughout the first pitch of the Braves game. He went to the soccer game. Felt like he was excited to be the guy there and be a big part of the community. And maybe he will be. I mean, maybe he ends up, beating out Penix these next few years, and Penix is a flop. But now with this draft, it just feels like a move from the Falcons that they sort of started to say, okay, maybe Cousins only has a couple seasons left. And
feels like it put a you-know-what in the punch bowl.
Exactly. So I'm on Kirk's side here. I mean, I feel for him, to be honest. He's financially, he's
then
fine,
on the other hand, let's not do any telethons or.
We don't need all that, man. Don't feel for him because he's just fine.
Speaking of adult supervision, thank you. That's what we need for my picks right now. We need adult supervision.
The ride on the Hindenburg continues.
Well, if we're looking for it on this show, you're not going to get any.
Plaster's Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. Give them a call, 615-242-9000, or log on to bartdurham.com. Let's take a look at what happened.
Let's don't.
Edmonton was the only win. It's a lot of red.
There is quite a bit of red there. So Boston should have won. That was actually, I take it back. I was 1 out of 2 yesterday.
Edmonton
and Clippers.
So the Clippers won.
No, the Clippers lost. Edmonton won.
Okay, so you brought up Boston.
No, that was 2 nights ago.
Okay.
So I was 1-1 last night. We're still 10 under. We've taken on water. We need to bounce back. Here we go. Item number 1.
Give me a second.
Here we go.
So
the build-up, the crescendo.
Kirk Cousins gets his picture on time, and I don't get item number 1?
He probably didn't put it into the. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Wow.
He probably didn't put it into the broadcast here, George. He woke up at 12:30. I mean, sorry, he didn't wake up by noon today. He woke up at 12:30, and he wasn't able to get it done by the time the show came on.
Billy, is any of that true?
No, it's not true.
Well,
you think anything out of Kelly's mouth is true?
I will admit I wonder. So, I mean, like today, during the summer solstice, will this pop up?
Yes.
Do you like that one, Kelly?
Man, I could go out and wash my deck by the time Billy gets this done.
Good Lord, the NHL playoffs will be over. Oh, great. Great. Let's talk about that one. Let's talk about that one first. Philly, this one has the feel of Philly trying to play it like a Super Bowl. Owner buys 2,000 tickets, tells the Knicks fans to stay home. Philly really wants this one. All of a sudden, they feel a little renewed after Tyrese Maxey went off. Philly is going to win tonight, and when they do, they're going to cover. he says, with virtually no confidence. Yeah. When you go as bad as I have lately, confidence is a little shaken.
94
Item
and 105.
number 2. Yes.
Oh.
Milwaukee.
One of two things is going to happen in this game. Either Indiana is going to win by 40 or Milwaukee's going to take this right to the wire. And if Damian Lillard and or Giannis play, we got a different ball game. Then that number's too high. That's what I think.
Okay.
Kelly, we have a programming decision that has been made.
Oh, we're not cutting the plug on all this, are we, George?
No. There will be no show. Oh, darn it. There will be no show tomorrow. Do you know why?
Yes, you've told me. Do you
In
want
the
me to tell
Greek
everybody?
Orthodox Church, this is one of those years where our Easter is 5 weeks later than, for instance, Catholic or whatever.
Yeah.
You like that whatever?
Whatever.
I had a great line, but I wasn't going to use it.
Whatever.
So, anyway, because
Jesus' birth, whatever. Hey, it's no big deal. Whatever.
Okay. No, that's not the case. So tomorrow in our church is Good Friday. And so much as you all got Good Friday back in late March, we're going to do the same tomorrow for me. So,
okay.
Kelly, you weren't going to be here anyway. Billy, is there a problem?
And real quick before we go, breaking news, Georgia's Kirby Smart has received a 2-year contract extension, making him the highest paid head coach. He now makes $13 million per year.
That contract extension is through 2033.
Okay.
Yes.
Bonus is up to
The
1.5.
rich just keep getting richer. Okay,
Yes,
Kelly,
they
have
do.
a good weekend. I'll see you back here on Monday.
I appreciate it, guys. Be good, Billy.
Your
Don't worry
future
about
is
it.
uncertain.
Yeah, Billy, you can go to sleep, and you don't have to wake up at noon tomorrow or 12:30. You can sleep on past that. Don't worry about it. You're good.
Thanks, Kelly.
All
don't
of you
to put
have a
any
good one.
graphics up. See you.
Means a
We'll
lot.
see you Monday.